The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain Longman Simplified English Series read by Pongsakorn Jantet. Chapter 6 In the Graveyard. At 9:30 that night, Tom said six were sent to bed as usual. They said their prayers, and six was soon asleep. Tom lay awake and waited in restless impatience. The clock struck 11. Then there came Huck's signal, the meowing of a cat. A minute later, Tom was dressed and out of the window. He crept along the roof of the wood and then jumped to the ground. Huckleberry Finn was there with his dead cat. The boy moved off and disappeared in the darkness. Half an hour later, they were stepping through the tall grass of the graveyard. It was on a hill about a mile and a half from the village. A faint fly moaned through the trees, and Tom feared that it might be that the spirits of the dead complaining about this disturbance of their rest. The boys talked in whispers for the time and the place, the solemnity, and the silence has a depressing effect on them. They found the heap of newly dug earth which they were seeking, and craved within the protection of three great trees that grew within a few feet of the grave. Then they waited in silence for what seemed to a long time. The mournful cry of distant birds of the only sound that troubled the dead stillness. "Huck, do you believe the dead people like us to be here?" says Tom in a whisper. "I wish I knew," whispered Huck. "It's awfully solemn, isn't it?" "It is." There was a long pause. "I say, Huck, do you think Horace Williams can hear us talking?" "Of course he can. At last his spirits can." Another long pause followed. "I wish I," says Mr. Williams, breathed Tom. "But I never means any harm. Everybody calls him Horace. You should be very careful how you talk about these dead people, Tom." This was discouraging, and conversation died again. Suddenly, Tom seized Huck's arm and exclaimed, "Sure! What is it, Tom?" The two boys held on to each other, their hearts beating fast. "Sure! There is again. Didn't you hear it?" "Oh, Tom, they are coming! They are coming!" "What will we do?" "I don't know. Do you think they will see us?" "Oh, Tom, they can see in the dark just like cats. I wish I hadn't come." The boys bent their heads together and squarely breathed. A dull sound of voices floated up from the far end of the graveyard. "Look here," whispered Tom. "What is it?" "It's devil fire." "Oh, Tom, this is awful." Some vague figures approached through the gloom, swinging old-fashioned lamp. It's the devil, I'm sure. 3 of them. Tom will never get away alive. Can you pray? I will try. But don't be afraid. They are not going to hurt us. Sure. What is this, Huck? They're human beings. One of them is, I am certain, that's old Potter voice. No, it isn't. It is. I know it. Don't stir. He isn't sharp enough to not stick us. Drunk as you expect. All right. I will keep still. Here they come again. I say. Huck, I know another of them. It's Redskin Joe. That's so. That's murdering half-breed. I'd rather have the will. What do they want? The 3 men reached the grave and stood within a few feet of the boy's hiding place. Here it is, said the third voice, and the owner of it held the lamp up and revealed the face of young Dr. Robinson. Potter and Redskin Joe had a handcart from which they chose a blanket, a rope, and 2 spades. Then they began to open the grave. Hurry, men, said the doctor in a low voice. The moon may come out at any moment. They made an indistinct reply and went on digging for some time. There was no noise but the sound of the spades moving the earth. Finally, a spade struck the coffin, and within another minute or two the men had lifted it out. They broke off the lid with their spades, got out the body, and dropped it roundly on the ground. The moon sailed out from behind the clouds and lit up the chalky face. The handcart was got ready and the body was placed on it, covered with the blanket and bound in its place with the rope. Potter took out a knife, cut the ends of the rope, and then said, "Now the costing's ready, Sobrons, and you'll hand out another $5, or here stays. There is a way to talk," says Redskin Joe. "What does this mean?" asked the doctor. "You demanded your prey in advance, and I have paid you." "Yes, and you've done more than that," said Redskin Joe, approaching the doctor. "5 years ago, you drove me away from your father's kitchen one night when I came to ask for a bit of bread, and you called me a squirrel when I swore that I'd make you suffer for that. Even if it took me 100 years, your father has me put in prison as a vagabond. Did you think that I with native blood in me would forget such treatment? And now I've got you, and you must pay for it." He was threatening the doctor with his fist in the face. By this time, the doctor struck out suddenly and knocked the villain down. Potter dropped his knife and exclaimed, "Here, don't strike my partner." The next moment, Potter and the doctor were fighting fiercely. Redskin Joe sprang to his feet, his eyes flaming with fury, snatched off Potter's knife and went creeping cat-like about the struggling men, seeking for an opportunity. Suddenly, the doctor tore himself free, seized the heavy headboard of William's grave and stunned Potter with it. In the same instant, the half-breed saw his chance and drove the knife up to the handle in the young man's breast. He staggered and fell partly upon Potter, flooding him with his blood. At the same moment, the cloud covered up the dreadful spectacle, and the two terrified boys seized the opportunity to creep away in the darkness. When the moon came out again, Redskin Joe was standing over the two men, regarding them thoughtfully. The doctor murmured something, gave a long gasp or two, and was still. The half-breed master that account is Chettle caught you. Then he robbed the body. After doing so, he put the fatal knife in Potter's right hand and sat down on the broken coffin. 3, 4, 5 minutes passed, and then Potter began to stir a moan. His hand closed upon the knife. He raised it, glanced at it, and let it fall with a shiver. Then he sat up, pushing the body from him, and gazed at it and around him confusedly. His eye met Redskin Joe. "Good heaven! What is Joe?" he said. "It's a nasty business," replied Redskin Joe, without moving. "What did you do it for?" I didn't do it." Potter trembled and went white. "I thought I wasn't drunk. I shouldn't have touched any drink tonight. But it's in my head yet. I can't remember anything about this. Tell me, Joe, trustfully now. Old fellow, did I do it, Joe? Upon my soul and honor, I swear that I never mean to. Joe, tell me how it happened, Joe. How it's awful." And he was such a fine young doctor. "Why you two were struggling, and he hit you with a headboard and knocked you down. Then you got up, snatched the knife and stuck it into him just as he hit you again. And you have been lying here still now. Oh, I didn't know what I was doing. It was all an account of the drink and excitement. I am sure. I never used a weapon in my life before, Joe. The poor creature dropped on his knees and held out his arm before the murderer. Joe, don't tell. Say that you won't tell. Joe, that's a good fellow. I have always liked you, Joe, and defended you too. You won't tell, will you, Joe? No, you've always been good to me. Potter and I will keep my mouth shut. Oh, Joe, you are an angel. I will bless you for this till my dying day. He began to cry. Come, now that's enough of that, said Redskin, and don't leave any track behind you. Potter hurried away and the half-breed stood looking after him. If he is as much stunned with the blow and stupid with the drink as he seemed to be, Redskin Joe muttered, he won't think of the knife till he's gone so far that he'll be afraid to come back for it. The crowd